Hi everyone, welcome to my video tutorial on how to use a popular educational tool that's really risen to prominence, particularly during this moment in education that sees us all teaching during the pandemic. And that tool is Seesaw. So Seesaw is a digital classroom portfolio that allows students to interact with the learning activities, share work with their peers and parents, and it functions similar to a social media platform. So, my intent in this professional development is for you to become well versed in the use of Seesaw in order to create learning activities using all of Seesaw's amazing, unique features. And in my time using Seesaw, I have to say, I found it so beneficial due to its ability to help me support students and learners with all sorts of different abilities that not only make students more engaged, but allow them to develop the skills to use technology more effectively. So let's hop right in and we'll take a look. The first thing that you're going to want to do is create a class. So you see, this is my name right here. And I can create a new class. I have a sample class already created. But you can see I have my homeroom, which actually is the class that I use at my job. But the sample class I've created today, just so I can show you guys how to create an activity with none already created. So if you create a new class, you can name your class, give your grade level specification. And here I'm just going to use my sample class. So you'll notice here that Seesaw is pretty simple looking. That's one of the things I like about it is that the interface isn't overwhelming. It's easily organized. And now we've created a class and we're in the class journal. Since no work has been assigned by me yet or completed by my class, the journal is empty, but the journal functions like a social media news feed that expands as student work is submitted and completed, and any work that students complete will pop up on this page. So I have my class here. Here's my sample class. I only have one student, but I can always add more students to it by just having them scan it. There's instructions that can be sent home, or I can just add students manually. But for now, I just have my one lonesome sample student. So let's take a look at the folders function as well. I can create folders where I can put activities based on subject areas. So the activity we're going to create today is a reading activity. So I'll create a reading folder. So reading, and I'll put comprehension because this is a comprehension standard we're going to create. And then, I might color code it since my students' reading folder is green. On here, I might make it green as well. So now I have my reading comprehension folder made. And I also have a math folder made, but you can kind of see that you can color code them by whatever makes sense to you. So let's look at the activities by clicking on the light bulb. Once you click on the light bulb, you can see that there are activities that you've already created that have been posted here. You can schedule activities that will be released on certain days. You can archive activities so you can see all the activities you've created up to this point. And you can schedule activities on the calendar. But what we'll do is we'll click this one, assign to class, and we will add a new activity. So Seesaw, what you're going to do right here is you'll click this assign activity button, and now you're in the activity library. I love Seesaw because it has an activity library that can be easily accessed if you need something in a pinch. So I can access the Seesaw community, and it will have pre-created activities by teachers, and I can even look at it by subject area. So if I'm looking for something for reading, whatever the standard is that I'm looking for, I can search for it by keyword, or I could even look in my own school district. And I often share this in my school district. I create a lot of activities and I put them on so that way other teachers in my district can use them. But I'll look at my library. Now, I've created many activities on Seesaw. when you create a new class, all the activities you've created up until this point stay in your library. So I have a tremendous number of activities that I've created that I can reuse and edit if I need to. So even though this activity library is extensive, I'd like to show you how to create an activity of your own that can be sent to your class. So what we'll do is we'll create a new activity by clicking this plus sign. Once you create the new activity, you have to decide what the name of it's going to be, what the instructions are going to be. And I'm going to think about a recent lesson I did, which was for the first standard that we teach in third grade, which is asking questions about literary text. If you take a look, I can also attach a skill to it as well. So if you look here, that matches up with my Common Core State Standards, ELA Literacy.L.3.1. This one right here is asking and answering questions about literary text. So I'm going to tag the skill there. And there's also speaking and listening standards that could go into this one, but any skills that apply, you can see it has every Common Core State standard, or you can even create your own if you'd like. You can search for them. But I'm going to tag the skill right here, and I'm going to provide instructions. So I'm going to say read the text, and the story is called White Wave, independently. Then ask 1 to 3 questions using the microphone feature. So I might say using the microphone feature or the label feature. So you notice I put colons around these words. That's because these are shortcuts, so it will show the image of the buttons that students will see. And I might say submit your work by clicking the green check mark, which will pop up when I put this colon around the word submit when finished. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating the activity. But one last thing that's cool about Seesaw is it includes a lot of ability to add voice instructions. So I'll record my instructions as well. Read the text White Wave independently. Then ask 1 to 3 questions using the microphone or the text box feature. Submit your work by clicking the green check mark when finished. So now I've created it, and then it will play it back for me. Read the text White Wave independently. And here, I'm just going to edit that there real quick. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to add a template which students are going to respond on top of. So Seesaw will allow me to take a photo, create a drawing where I can actually copy and paste images into here. A video, I can put links, I can put a note. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually upload a PDF of the text. So I'm going to select it from my computer. I recently downloaded White Wave. And right here, once I add the text to Seesaw, it will appear here. So the students will read this independently. And then at the end, I might add a section for them to ask 1 to 3 questions about the text. What are you still wondering about? And I did that by clicking this label feature. Now, when you click it, a text box will pop up. You see? But if you don't want to use it, you just click off of it. If you click inside of it, it will allow you to type. And then I can even record my voice instructions by clicking these 3 dots after I click on the box and clicking voice. Ask 1 to 3 questions about the text. What are you still wondering about? And then I hit the check mark. And now when the students click on this, ask 1 to 3 questions about the text. What are you still wondering about? They can hear what I've just said. So another thing that I can do that I like is if my students have trouble reading this independently, I can just click this microphone and read it to them right here. So I won't read the whole page, but if I click this, 3, 2, 1, White Wave, Chinese folktale as told by Diane Wolkstein. And then I can pause it. And then when I'm done recording, I hit this done right here. And now, White Wave, Chinese folktale as told by Diane Wolkstein. You can hear the instructions or the actual text read. So this is very useful to use with students who need a little bit of differentiation in how the material is presented to them. And for my higher readers, I might just let them read this on their own. But you can see the myriad of ways that you can differentiate on here. And like I said, ask 1 to 3 questions about the text. Students can respond with the text box or record their own voice here as well. So now that I've created the activity, I will click the check mark, and now it's added to my activity library. I can create multimedia instructions, and I can add information about this activity that's only visible to teachers. So I might say, hey, take this, use it at your own leisure, copy it, and edit the activity. And teachers can't actually go in and change your activity, but if you share it with them, they can copy and edit it just like a Google Drive file. So now I'll save it and I'll assign it to my class by clicking assign. And I can click which classes I assign it to. I can even go in, edit students. I can say which folder I want it to go in. So I want this to go in reading comprehension, and my skill has already been tagged here. But if I want to tag more afterwards, I can always go in there. And then my student, I want to give it to my sample student. So once I click check mark, assign to one class, or I can schedule it if I'd like to send it on another day. So I like to sometimes set activities ahead of time, so I'm really not worrying about it. If in my weekly planning, I can set it for the end of the week or later on, and I can set an exact time as well. So I'll assign it immediately, and then once I click assign to one class, I can view it in my sample class. So once I go to sample class right here, you can see it. Now the student can play the instructions by clicking this, and then once they're ready to begin, they add their response. And for me, I would see sample student, but they would just go right into the activity. And then here, they can actually respond to the activity, and upon finishing, they can write their question. Why is the main character called White Wave? That's maybe a question that would pop up in my students' head. So they record that. And if they're not finished, they can save it as a draft. But if they're finished, they save it as a green check mark. And now, remember we talked about that journal earlier? Now their work is available in the journal. And I can provide feedback, either voice or written feedback. I can like their post, and I can see it that it's in the reading folder, in that it has a skill tag to it. So Seesaw, as you could see, is very useful, and there's a lot of potential for this to be used in so many different ways. You can use it to create entire lessons by putting video links and like prompts for activities. It's super interactive, and my kids have really loved using it. So I highly recommend you give Seesaw a try, and you see what it's all about. That's all I have for you guys, and I hope you found this video informative.